to that end, when I'm looking at Kanye, who's a billionaire, I'm very disappointed in our black billionaires, whether it's Kanye or Jay-Z or Beyonce, whether we want to go to Oprah or Tyler Perry or Sean Puffy Combs or LeBron James. Not a single black billionaire has built a relevant institution for black people yet. And when I say relevant institutions, I'm talking about schools, hospitals, supermarkets, banks, distribution and manufacturing sector. Distribution, obviously, to give our people the basic needs to survive, in manufacturing to provide our people with jobs. Those are the 6 key industries, and not a single one of our billionaires have built a significant or a relevant institution. They have attached their names to charter schools, but charter schools are owned by the state. That's not a black institution. You understand me? Those are state institutions.
What about Jay-Z with prison reform?
What has he done with prison reform? Because I've heard the conversation, but I haven't seen anything tangibly that has changed yet. Now, I saw them change the law so that hip hop artists cannot be held accountable for, their lyrics that they put in their music cannot be used against them in a court of law. And I'm not even sure if that's a good thing, to be honest, because if you're rapping this type of stuff, you need to be held accountable for it or change the content of your music. But just saying I'm involved in prison reform means nothing. What law have you changed yet? If y'all know of one, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, so I see what point you coming from, because I know with prison reform, they did like open up old cases.
Okay.
Of people that was like they got locked up for a crime they didn't commit or didn't do. So
that's not prison reform, though. That's tokenism.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand? Let me give you an example. When Barack Obama, the last year of his term, before he left office, he commuted the sentences of thousands of Americans, right, of every color. That's not prison reform. You know why? Because there's nothing systemically being done to change the way people are charged, tried, sentenced, and treated in prison and released.
Right, yeah.
When Donald Trump was towards the end of his year, he commuted a lot of sentences, including Lil Wayne. He threw his case out. Yep. We go to Detroit with our brother who was the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick. He released him out of prison, right? Mm-hmm. But that's tokenism. You know why? Because I chose you. I'm not doing nothing about what your people are going through. Okay. I'm just going to single out Kwame Kilpatrick. I chose you. I'm not doing nothing about your people, but I'm going to single out Lil Wayne. We have to be careful to not allow tokenism to substitute for systemic measurable change. I'll give you another one. They'll talk about the economy and they'll say, well, we got 1,000 more black millionaires in America than we had 20 years ago, right? That's tokenism. There's 50 million American Africans. Don't you dare try to distract from the poverty, the underachievement, the homelessness that the millions suffer from and try to distract me by saying there's 1,000 more black millionaires. Progress is in the group, not in the token. Don't single me out and say, well, you got 6 degrees. You never been to jail. You're a doctor. You come from the ghetto of North Philly. Why can't every black man do it? Because every black man isn't given the opportunity that I was given. See, we have to make sure we don't buy into this narrative of the power structure that wants to take individuals' examples of success and use that to chastise all the failures so we can blame our people for where they are.
I definitely agree with that because, like, look, if you could do it, then if we can do it, then you can do it. So I never like I look at the Kodak Black situation with Donald Trump got Kodak Black out, and I followed Kodak Black on like Instagram and social media, and he always like, man, bring Trump back into the office because for him he got you out of jail. So I can understand how you feel personally.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But when he was in as our president, like the way the country was going, it was like it wasn't good for us as a whole.
It wasn't good for us
at all. Like even like with the police brutality, that wasn't.
He did nothing about it. He did nothing about it. Not only that,
it covers that behavior. So I understand that Kodak Black, like, well, I'm out of jail now. But
you know what we call that?
Wait. So you think Kim Kardashian? So her, partnering up with Trump and getting those, people out of jail. You feel like she could have been doing more? You feel like, all right?
No.
Wait. Just that's not prison reform. But
I reject her involvement completely. Do you want to know why?
No,
because there are actually black female lawyers who Donald Trump could have worked with to get black people out of jail. Don't go get some whore from Hollywood with no credentials and legitimize her as a prison activist for black people when you got thousands of black female attorneys who've been on the front lines fighting against human abuses against black people, and you're not going to validate them, but you'll validate a white entertainer to do it? I totally reject her participation. And we need to be careful with that, because if you sit back and say it's okay for Kim Kardashian to be the political prison activist for black people, you are validating, right, the silencing of the black voice in lieu of a white Jesus figure who you think can better champion you than you can champion yourself.
Devil's advocate, right? Maybe he used her for her influence, because Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians have a real big influence, though.
What is she influencing as it relates to the prison situation?
Just like her followers and just the influence, just how much attention she can draw to things.
Saying, like, I know sometimes
she ain't bigger than Beyonce. She ain't bigger than Jay-Z. She ain't bigger than Kanye West. She ain't bigger than Tyler Perry. She ain't bigger than Oprah Winfrey.
That's actually debatable, though, to be 100% honest, though, because at the end of the day, when you playing with, and don't get me wrong, don't quote me on this, because I'm really not strong with politics. Understood. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But, you know, when you dealing with Trump and you dealing with politics, and, you know, you want that second term and you stuff like that, you want to use people with real big influences to.
No white person can advocate a black issue better than black people, and black people should never allow a white person to advocate your issues, because if you let them speak for you, you are basically invalidating your right to speak for yourself. The first of all freedoms that we've ever fought for was the right to speak for ourselves. Remember during abolition, the fight against freedom, you had the American Anti-Slavery Society. You had the American Abolitionist Society right out of Philadelphia, mind you, right? Even James Fortin helped fund and found the American Anti-Slavery Society. Did you know you could not even be a member? No, these are white people fighting to end your slavery, and you are not even allowed to join them. Do you want to know why? Why? Because even though they was fighting to end your slavery, they still consider you to be inferior to them. When Frederick Douglass started speaking for the American Anti-Slavery Society, why did him and William Lloyd Garrison fall out? The white man who discovered him. You know why they fell out? Because he only wanted Frederick Douglass to talk about what life was like as a slave. When Frederick Douglass started articulating the anti-slavery position, they said, time out, ex-slave. We didn't ask you to intellectualize the struggle. We just want you to give your story of being a slave. Leave the intellectual analysis to us white men. Do you understand me? And Frederick Douglass said, I didn't leave one slave master to join under another. My point is, why would you let a white person argue your fight? Kim Kardashian don't know what it's like to be a black man or a black woman. Most people on the planet are black, and therefore any black billionaire will be far more influential in our issues than any white billionaire could ever be. Kim Kardashian, no, you never let another race articulate your wrongs. What did Frederick Douglass say? A man who has the ability to fight for himself but chooses not to has no right to be fought for. If you ain't going to stand up and speak for yourself, why would you want somebody else to do it? We don't need no damn Kim Kardashian. That was a distraction to mute your voice. Here we go again. First Amendment freedom of speech. Put Kim Kardashian out there, and while we distract the world with Kim, all the black women who've been fighting for black people to get out of jail, their voices get silenced. Hell no.